Yo, this was inevitable. Georgia, Alabama, two dominant programs, two legendary coaches, two talented teams, and two hungry, rabid, and sometimes annoying fan bases. This is going to be an awesome game. I cannot wait. I love how both teams match up. I love the stories behind both teams. You have Georgia with a three-peat on their mind, and you got Alabama hoping to reclaim the glory that they feel they rightfully deserve. This is a matchup of two of the most dominant programs in college football. Alabama provides a number of issues, a number of potential challenges for this Georgia team. The biggest one, number one, a running quarterback. Jalen Milroe is a freak show, man. He's fast, he's physical, he pulls plays out of nowhere. He's their magic man for sure. I mean, look at the last game. Look at what happened against Auburn. It's insane. The Tide have been running the ball extremely well, getting the ball to what three to four backs at this point. And while there are still concerns about that offensive line, those guys are still putting together some really good dominant performances. Really interested to see that matchup against Georgia. And defensively, you know what time it is. It's Nick Saban. He's going to have a dominant front seven. Dallas Turner is one of the most talented guys I've ever seen on the edge. He may not have the full stats of a Will Anderson and all of that, but you could tell when he turns it on, he's a problem. He's definitely a problem. Alabama's a really talented team. If you're looking for me just to be on here slandering Alabama and all of that, I'm not going to do it. Everyone knows I'm a diehard Georgia fan. Hell, the name of the podcast is Dawgs versus all y'all. But I'm going to tell y'all, this is a talented Alabama team. I said at the beginning of the year, I said it after they lost to Texas. You can never count out Nick Saban. You can never count out the Crimson Tide. So shout out to them for rebounding after not only that Texas loss, but what should have been a loss at South Florida. That literally could have been the end of the season. But those guys put together some good performances. They came together as a team and they took care of business, man. You can't help but tip your cap to Coach Saban for the coaching job this season. I know, I know they have one of the most talented teams in college football, blue chip ratio, all of that stuff. But it's one thing about momentum and building confidence. There were a lot of questions after weeks 2 and 3 of the college football season for Alabama. I saw a lot of Alabama fans counting them out. You can never count out the GOAT. You can never count out the GOAT. It's simple. It's as simple as that. And on Georgia's end, the offense is rolling. Mike Bobo is dialing them up. Think about the Tech game. We didn't have Brock Bowers, Lat McConkey, Ra Thomas, and Tate Ratledge. So we essentially didn't have four starters and was still scoring at will. Aside from some very suspect officiating against Georgia Tech, they were still moving the ball. They were still scoring very well. Carson Beck's stat line doesn't tell the full story. That first interception was more so a receiver dropping the ball. The second one was definitely on Carson. I don't know what window he was looking at, but I'll give him that interception. But you could tell that Carson's playing with confidence, and that should absolutely be scary for Alabama. My main question, my main concern going into this game is whether or not Georgia's defense is capable of stopping running on the edge and a mobile quarterback. Jalen Milroe is absolutely capable of exploiting this. We saw it against Auburn. We saw a little bit of it against Mizzou, and we definitely saw it against Georgia Tech. A mobile quarterback can make things very tricky for that defense, unfortunately. Our defensive line as a whole has been solid, but they're leaving a lot to be desired. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be absolutely unbiased, even though I'm a Georgia diehard. I'm going to be honest. I see it. I got to say it. And on the edge, those guys haven't really broken out. So I do expect Alabama to try to exploit this. Hell, if they're trying to win, that's their best bet. But the deciding factor in this game is ultimately going to be the quarterback play. You have two dominant teams, two very, very talented teams. I'm going to revert to which quarterback's better, which quarterback is playing with more confidence, which quarterback can I depend on more. And that's Carson Beck. Week after week, Carson's been growing more and more confident. You could tell he's taking shots where week 1 and week 2, that wasn't so much the case. You just know that both Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey are going to be there ready to rock and roll come Saturday. It's going to literally take a natural disaster, knock on wood, to keep them away from that field. I like the plays. I like the players on the outside for Georgia. I like the matchups against those talented Alabama DBs. And for that reason, I got Georgia winning the SEC championship, moving on into the playoffs as the number 1 team. Final score, Alabama 34, Georgia 41. This game really feels like this is ultimately going to be the national championship, in my opinion. Yes, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington are all undefeated and all very talented in their own right. But make no mistake about it, in terms of talent and momentum, this is a matchup between the two best teams in college football. And I cannot wait to watch it. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, look us up on socials at SuplexDinnerClub. And be sure to check out our other projects. We talk college football on Dawgs versus All Y'all. That's a weekly college football podcast where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football. The Life and Times pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have some chill conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. And of course, check out Talk 'em in the Building. That's a pro wrestling podcast where we solely focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. It's a fun project, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I would love for you to be a part of it.